Now, we would like to invite the next speaker, who is Mr. Masatoshi Seki. He is a programmer, Ruby committer, and ERB, Ruby, and Linda author. He has been making a lot of contribution in various areas. Object orientation, distributed system, extreme programming are the subjects that he is particularly interested in. Since 2006, he has been contributing his lecture in the Ruby Kaigi. He is author of the Ruby book, The Pragmatic Programmer, and also the 97 issues which programmers should be aware of. Today's subject is ERB Hacks. Thank you very much. I am very happy that there are so many people in the audience, and I would like to talk about an ERB today. I am a committer of Ruby, and I have written Ruby, Linda, and ERB. Some time ago, I gave a lecture at the Shimane University in this prefecture. Usually, I am active in the Torubi community, and more recently, Pokemon card game World Championship is very popular. I was a representative of Tochigi Prefecture in 2010, and the Pokeka search system is talked about. And Torubi means that actually the monthly meeting, and the next month we are having the 200th meeting, and it is held on first Wednesday of every month. Ikeza-san came to me and he asked me to give the tutorialship, and he is running his company in Tochigi Prefecture. The name is Information Design. And if you ask his work on a commissioned basis, and always Torubi's and technical support is provided for the customers. It is of high economic value, so please think about it. So this is an advertisement of Pokeka. This was just published recently, and ancient Pokemon and future Pokemon were very active. So I would like to talk about the future and the ancient times. The ancient times is actually the prophecy, and also it's actually concordance or discordance. In the future, I would like to talk about the helper to be implemented. In the ancient times, I would like to talk about my engagement in 1999 when ERB was born. The entity text can be replaced with a library in template. And Maeda-san gave me the idea about ERB. So this is an ERB certificate, and Maeda-san gave this post and posted these comments. He was working as a part-time employee. So in the angle bracket, you can write another equation and formula. It is the same as is today. There is some difference, and print and percent meaning the same thing. Percent equal is actually that standard output, and so it is actually communicated and actually connected to that printed. That is an original spec. So please think about it. And I thought it was quite wonderful, and I wanted to create it myself because it sounded so fascinating. But at the same time, this was too oriented to that system because it is actually that output. So this is actually what we know about the CGI. The process is created every time. CGI response is this. So standard and print was actually the basis. Therefore, the latter part of CGI was actually that puts. So that was a background ERB, and was actually natural line of extension of the ideas. This is rather boring puts, and this is a typical CGI script, and you can see so many puts in the end. If you use a here document, it will be a bit better. The number of puts has decreased, but Ruby is actually the subject. Therefore, escape is actually in the text. In the case of ERB, Ruby strict is changing to that actually text. And the text can be output and also printed. Therefore, puts is reduced. So this script is escaped by enclosing it with that angle bracket. I don't think it is good. So this is actually that embedding of the Ruby script in the text. Idea is good, but it is so oriented to the CGI's end. Therefore, Now there was such a prophecy. So I don't think so that would not be a major one, and it would be CGI model might be actually emulated by some sort of server model. So now this is actually part of the page, and it can be actually created by method in layers, and it is called helper template, and does not exist on its own. So that is actually coordinating with the Ruby's script. So that is and harmonious relations. In the large big one, the templates are here, and the templates will be actually nested. So templates can be used somewhere else outside this particular environment. Now let me talk about the CGI modeling. For each request, the model is prepared. So the job is necessary beyond the border of the request. So maybe I thought it would be long-living. In that case, you have to go to the distributed and the parallel processing. Therefore, maybe that SD dot would be a problem. I had some sort of rather negative feeling. Maeda-san is implementing ERB. I felt so, but I tried to write it myself as well. ERB and also ERB. And the ERB Lite was actually prepared by me and posted it instead of actually that printing, but it was actually the assembly and the compilation of the text and the strings. I wanted to support. So eRuby can be actually translated. So that was the main point. So eVal and eClass and the module header can be actually accommodated. That's what I wanted to achieve. And I thought that if this can be used, I would be happy. Then something happened. Ruby is to be used 256 times more. And I thought my idea, my dream was actually coming true. In 2001, it was published. Also the Tada and also Baba and DRuby and Ruby are actually extremely admired by them. So I wanted to be approved. That was actually given by those two authors. So that was a very wonderful book. So this became the standard library. What you are using today is this one. And 25 years ago, so next year it will be the 1/4 of the century will have passed. I believe that as a prophecy in those days, the prophecy was not so bad and not so untrue. But I believe that I have a lot of joy if I create myself. So I don't use it. So this is about the future. I would like to talk about the future now. So Rails in Rails, the block-based helper can be implemented, but because of the block issue 10 years ago, it was given up. In the Ruby conference, I applied for this one, and after that application, I came to realize that it would be perhaps resolved. I was thinking about this subject to be talked about. Ikezawa products and the technique is used very often. Insert a template and proc can be used, which is good. And the method ERB def can be actually changed to method. Let me talk about the method system or method way. So helper is good and very helpful, and it is actually provide you with an easier writing. And the proc is also good and within the template, and that can be actually realized and achieved only within template. So this was actually the huge questionnaire survey. For each question, there was a large space for the responses. The attributes and also the name and ID should be actually unique. But if possible, so the related matters can be written in one template. This is an actual survey questions. It was about quite an expertise area with an expertise and also professionalism. And for each question, you expect that there would be that the space for the answered, but for each section you have so many detailed and optional answers. So for each question, almost 100 options were actually offered as answer. 10 megabytes was necessary for presenting that, posting that. And PROC was used, and I was planning to talk about PROC. PROC is to be used many times, and so if you call that location where you would like to actually use that repeatedly, you can do that, and then almost a template-like specification or the instruction can be prepared like that. This is actually the part where you compile in red, not the compilation on that location, but you can say that I am going to compile there. This is actually PROC, therefore the parameters can be delivered. You need to be careful about the timing of calling. So this is an angle bracket is not actually percent. It is actually the. So because you would like to have that compilation. And 10 years ago, I could not resolve that issue. That issue came to my mind again. To 2014, in the Ruby Kaigi, he talked about it. Matsuda-san's talk. 10 years ago, Matsuda-san actually came forward for consultation, and the template and engine of Rails can be actually returned, reassigned to ERB. The answer was no. And I tried to achieve it, but it was not. The block is started, and it is a regular expression. This is unacceptable, not acceptable. Because it is not acceptable, it was turned down. I didn't think that it could be actually kept in such a way in PROC. And I believed so for a long time. But then I realized this. In the Rails, and a capture helper is available. Inside the block, there are strings. You can actually extract those strings. Before or after that capture, those, something like a helper emerges. I wanted to write it with a percent equal. Percent equal versus block. The block associated method. So if you create and capture, it's easy, but actually to create a method with a block is very, very difficult. So when it is converted to ERB, this is what you will see. This is actually the syntax and a tree, syntax error. And I could not give a good answer to Matsuda-san's question. And I'm telling you why I could not, I failed. And when I tried it, and I felt like perhaps I could achieve it this time, 10 years afterwards. So this is that parenthesis, and so this is a regular expression, but that was bad. So this is actually the syntax. So on the part of the buffer, you can limit as that the buffer size did processing. In that case, the buffer can be eliminated. The ERB is actually changed, and so you can actually customize the conversion method to Ruby. Then the outcome capture can be actually done. So I tried to do it. I believe that it could be possible, but it was not such a straightforward work. I thought I could eliminate the angle bracket, but it was not. Without parenthesis, and syntax error appears. What about actually the external one? Without the parentheses, and the method is out. That could be actually accommodated. However, so if you use this block, this is a concat and block, and so this you cannot place that block as you wanted. But this is okay because it is actually the reassemble. So that's okay. As far as the assign is concerned, it's okay. This is plus equal. Plus equal is wonderful and spectacular. So this is actually outcome buffer, which we prepare. So the conventional buffer is wrapped, as you see. This is actually in the Spring, but in the case of Rail, Now you can do that with regard to the plus method. The plus equal can be combined with that, and the plus is creating a new object. No, and you should do it via yourself, this self. And the capture mechanism was what I wanted to do something about it. Buffer capture class is called, so in that case, a temporary internal buffer can be replaced with that temporary buffer. Then when it is done, you can actually reassign that again and record it again. So I did it, and it was working okay. So buffer and the outcome buffer and the plus equal customized. Then it worked very well. So buffer preparation is ERB out of class. That should be actually created. Plus equal is used for the connection of the equation, and then you can actually extract the outcomes and the result. And you can see this one by using this code. So capture implementation can be done as you see. Block argument is here. So in the binding of the block argument, the local variable here out and should be accessed. You access that, and it is actually that the buffer class of outcomes and the result. ERB class and capture method can be called. Then inside there, the block created method can be actually extracted. I have some more minutes to talk. From now on, what I'm going to do, it was a very small scale testing, and the method was limited. In the Rails and the environment, we can actually advance it. Perhaps if Master-san can actually commercially use that, but I am using. So somebody else in the audience can use that, and even if you cannot work it, and it doesn't successfully work, maybe. So I would like to see how it was actually performed. I am very keen on getting information. I talked about an ERB ancient times and also future. DLP is often the opposite, but the ERB is really wonderful and spectacular. So block-based helper can be implemented. That's what I wanted to touch upon today. Mr. Seki, thank you for your presentation. It was just on time. Thank you. You actually completed your presentation just on time. Because of the time limitation, I would not. I cannot entertain the question. But if you meet him at later times, then you will have opportunity to have a talk while exchanging your cards. Mr. Seki, thank you for your presentation and discussion. Thank you.
Now, we would like to invite the next speaker, that is Mr. Koichi Sasada. Could you please wait a minute until the stage is ready?